it's interesting using Twitter as someone who worked on it for 7 years. It's very easy to see where the pieces are falling apart. It's very easy as a developer to realize, oh, this is cracking. Like, I think maybe most users may not realize the little things, but the little things are there. And really, you are absolutely correct that one of the biggest flaws of Twitter was the ability to innovate and move quickly. The reason that Twitter, in my opinion, really struggled with moving quickly was because it was a company really made up of people who really care. And it was a lot of people who had a lot of strong opinions about what Twitter should be and really cared about those things. And those conversations, which are good ones to have, sometimes just really bubbled and took too long because there were so many people in the room who had very strong opinions about what Twitter should be. And that was always about how Twitter could do better. And you have to remember that Twitter has a direct effect to many people's real lives, right? So,
Absolutely.
and especially you would see this with the people who had been at Twitter for, decades, or not decades, but at least a decade. There were people who had sort of lived through some very hard times at Twitter and some moments like the famous fail whale or this famous, sort of times that Twitter wasn't doing well. And over time, these battle scars at Twitter had sort of grown into this set of rules, which is like, oh, this thing happened in 2015 and it was horrible. So we can never let it happen again. So here's a bunch of stuff that
All
we're
the
going to,
scar tissue kind of calcified.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Here's a bunch of rules and processes that we're going to put in place. So that thing that happened in 2015 never happens again. Now you multiply that by 100 things that happened over the course of 10 years. And it's all well-intentioned. It's well-intentioned rules that are meant to prevent catastrophic failures, so to speak. But at the end of the day, if you go too much in the side of we can't let these failures happen on Twitter because it affects the world, you just can't do anything, because anything you try and do, if you want to move quickly, you're going to break things. And that was something we believed at Spaces was we're going to break things. We're going to do this. It's going to break. We're going to have failures and we're going to be okay with that. And we're going to fix it. And we're going to build in public. So when we make mistakes, we're going to own up to them. It was difficult for the Twitter company to accept that because they had seen sort of oh, but when it failed 5-6 years ago, it was really bad. So we can't let that happen. And I think that's really, it all came from a good place. It came from the place of not letting down our users. And I think the new leadership now, it's like, screw that. It doesn't matter. Let's just break everything and let's go fast, which is in some ways not a terrible mindset, but the way they're approaching it is, I think, not the best.